Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Travis Johnson for What's Really Good. And I got a question for you. And this question, I guarantee you were not looking for me to ask today. Will Diddy be home in November? Let's find out what's really good.
What's really good? Try that talk, why that walk, live it loud. What's really good? What's really good? Bring the heat, keep it sweet, no defeat. What's really good? What's really good?
Ding, 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 ding. Let's go. And the reason that I say that is because the information that I'm about to present, I guarantee you will divide people. Some people will be very happy to hear the information and feel motivated by the information and feel all good inside. And other people will be mad as fuck. But I'm just here to present the information. So some are saying, and let's keep it real. When I say some, I mean attorneys, people on the Diddy team are saying that there's been an analysis that's been put together, and Diddy will probably hit the streets in a halfway house sometime around November. I'm going to run through it with you right now. So we're going to cover what they're saying. I'm going to give you a breakdown of how they feel that's about to happen. And then I'm also going to discuss what happens when Puff comes home. Is he canceled? Does he make a comeback? What happens? Let's talk about it. So the document, and I use that kind of loosely, that phrase kind of loosely, because I am not about to present information, full disclosure, I'm not about to present information that is a part of any court document, Bureau of Prison document. It does include Bureau of Prison and court information, but it is, as I said, full disclosure, it is a document that was given to me by the Combs team. It's an accumulation of information that was put together by his attorneys, by advisors. They got information from the courts. They have information from the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons, and they were able to put together this pre-release, I guess, analysis. I'm actually going to put it on the screen. It's very small. I actually received the information via text. So it's small. I'm going to try to make it as large as I can when I put it up on the screen. The breakdown goes something like this. And let me tell you something. As I start to say this, I am by no means an expert on the federal penitentiary. I've never been there. I'm not an expert on how they distribute time, how they give time out, how they allow you to get good time. I know none of that. I'm only going off of the best information that I have is when I speak to attorneys, when I speak to those that are in federal prison, those that have been in federal prison, or the authorities. That's the only place I'm able to get good information like that. So with that being said, if you don't remember, Sean Combs was convicted on a Mann Act charge. So he was not convicted. He was acquitted on a RICO charge and a sex trafficking charge. Well, a couple of each of those, one RICO charge and two sex trafficking charges. So those were the major charges. He actually was convicted on the lesser of the charges, which is the Mann Act charge. A lot of people are kind of confused on what happened, what he did, what he got convicted of doing. So what he got, the way the charge reads is he participated in the transportation or for the transportation of prostitution. So it wasn't about the Cassie video. It wasn't about throwing somebody out a window. It wasn't about Kid Cudi. It wasn't about Big E's death or Tupac's death. It wasn't about any of that. It was about he provided funds and participated in the transportation of escorts, better known as to some people as prostitutes, for the purpose of prostitution, and that is a federal crime. It's a federal crime. Now, when he was sentenced to 50 months, and this is where we start the math. So keep up with me. I'm going to put the math on the screen so that, like I said, this is my first time going through it so that we can both follow along together. And as I said, this is a summary of information that was put together by his team, attorneys and all, and it could be a little off. So with that being said, he received a sentence of 50 months in prison. Those of you that are familiar with the federal system and how time is allocated to people and how it's done and what type of good time they get, most times a person is going to do 85% of that time. So if he started out with a 50 month federal sentence, you can pretty much look at him before you start giving him credits for good time before you start doing any of that. You can pretty much look at approximately a 42-month sentence. Okay. So stay with the math. So if you got you're down to the 42 months, there is a program, a federal program that Puff was eligible for, and it's a drug program. It's a drug related program, and it's called the RDAP program. Once a person completes the RDAP program, it automatically, no questions asked, no permission necessary, it automatically deducts 12 months off of your sentence. So at this particular time, so this is July, so it's just past July 4th, Puffy is almost finished with that program. Okay. So, but you have to realize all of this information that I'm giving to you and the information that was given to me is projected. It's projected release information. So until this point, Puff has done well in the program. I guess no infractions, no outbursts, no crimes committed while he was in the program. Because noted, if there was any of those things, automatic dismissal from the program. One of the things that made him eligible for the RDAP program is, despite the different situations that we may have heard that Puff's been involved with, whether it's a city college or whatever the hell he's been involved with, he's never been convicted of a crime. This was his first time actually being convicted of any crime. So it made different things make him eligible for different federal programs at this point, and one of them being that RDAP program, and that's why he decided to go to Fort Dix. There was and they have the RDAP program, but it's supposed to be a one that was going to be very not only accessible to him but very beneficial to him. So that's the reason why they kind of politicked and campaigned to get him over to Fort Dix. So with that being said, once you complete that program, you got the 42 months minus the 12 months. That gives you 30 months. So his sentence already has gone down. All he had to do is do good in the program every day and show up and do well. And he's already down from a 50-month sentence to a 30-month sentence. 30-month sentence. So as of right now, Puff has done 22 months. So he's been in prison for 22 months. So when we get to September, that would have been 2 years, because he got arrested 2 years ago in September. So that would be a full 24 months. So at this point that we're doing the video, he's 22 months worth of time that he has. When he was sentenced, he already had a year in. So he's got these additional months as a result of his time after being sentenced. So you got the 30 minus the 22 months as of pretty much now, today, that Puff has spent in prison. So you got the 30 minus the 22, that gives you 8 months. 8 months. 8 months. And this is where it kind of goes beyond my pay grade, and I'm only as good as the information that I'm getting. So so remember, I said November. His team said November. He'd be hitting the streets or sometime around, give or take a month or two. So November. How do you get to November? What they're saying, and some experts are saying, is this is the way that 8 months is going to be broken down. They're saying that he's probably going to do another 4 months. So if he does another 4 months in prison, that would take us from July. So that would take us August, September, October, November. That's how they're getting to the November time, because what they're saying is, if he does this next 4 months and we're in November, and at that point he gets into a federal halfway house, which he's eligible for. Like I said, he's eligible for so many different things. Like there's a I believe it's called a First Step Act that also takes some of his time off, which probably also affects this scenario that we're giving right now. What I'm talking to you about may take place before November. That's the other side of this. This, barring a Trump speaking about any pardon or anything like that, Puff may be out prior to November because of that First Step Act. Let's get away from that. Let's get back to this 8 months. So if he does this next 4 months, that takes us into November. At that point, he would be eligible to enter a halfway house. And if you don't know what a halfway house is a program or a system in which you are reintegrated into the world. So you go from being, locked up behind bars in what they call that's secure. So secure lockup into a supervised situation, but you're not in secure lockup. You're not locked up in a prison anymore. You're out on the streets. You most likely have the ability, since they're trying to reintegrate you into the community, you most likely have the ability to, the normal person is supposed to be checking out job leads and, or school, spending time with their family and reintegrating into the community. So what the experts and what Puff's team is saying is that that's where he spends the approximate 3 to 4 last months. And that's why they're saying November, because once you come home to a halfway house, you're essentially, it is what it sounds like. You're halfway home. So you're on the streets. In this case, it hasn't been stated, but there's only 2 places that he's probably going to be released to. He's asking to be released to Florida. I believe I heard something about being able to take care of his mom and her main residence being in Florida. But this case was the trial was in New York. Although it was a federal trial, it was in New York City. He does still have residence in New York State. He may be paroled or supervised in New York State. So with that being said, he would probably be in the city area. As I said, he would have accessibility to the streets of New York and be able to go out and visit the family and also do things that are work and business related. Because like we said, the idea is to get you reintegrated into the community. So I had to document here. And so the dates, we have actual dates. And like I said, these dates are, they're sort of approximate. But what they're saying is around, somewhere around the time of November 7th, 2026, that's when he would probably be entering the halfway house situation. Now, I do want to address something that people are going to automatically say as soon as they start hearing this information. They're going to be like, this guy's cap, this guy's bullshitting, because if I go on the Bureau of Prisons website right now, it is probably going to say February 8th, 2028. So because I see the current projection of BOP, which is the Bureau of Prisons, the BOP current projection of his release is definitely February. It's been moved up a couple of times, but it's only been moved up to February 8th, 2028. So there's going to be people that get in the comments, or people that think when they hear me saying this information that, hey, guess what? That's what this guy's saying, and that's what Puff's people are saying. But the Bureau of Prisons said this guy is locked up until 2028. You can believe that. I'm not here to argue with you. You can believe that. The truth of the matter is, you're right. You're right. We're both right, or we both could be right. Let me tell you how. So the Bureau of Prisons is going to put a blanket release date. And what do I mean? A generic release date, whatever you want to call it. The release date that they put is not going to have any good time on it. It's not going to have any time reduced for the RDAP program or any other programs that the First Step Act, any other things. They're there to give you the date. So once you are integrated into the prison community, and you're eligible for these programs, and you start to take these programs, then that math will be calculated as I said, when he finishes the day that he finishes the RDAP program. He started in November. So he started the RDAP program in November. So it's a 9-month program. The day that he finishes that program, the very day, as long as he made it through that program, he's eligible. They're going to automatically deduct 12 months off of that time. I promise you. If you don't believe me, watch and see. But like I said, I'm not here to argue. All of these things will come to light. And like I said, what the information that I'm talking about has nothing to do with a pardon from the president. That's a totally different conversation that we're not having right now. The second part of this conversation is, I do hear a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people are divided on this. A lot of people are glad to hear that he may have a chance to be home in a couple of months. A lot of people hate that. They wanted him to have life. They wanted him to be, thrown away forever. to each his own opinion. I mean, everybody, I'm not mad at anybody for their opinion, but I don't want anybody to be mad about mine either. So the second part of what we have to talk about is what happens when Combs is released, whenever he's released. What happens? So there is an enormous amount of people that say, hey, guess what? He's going to be the biggest thing ever. And there's just as many people that are lined up to say, guess what? He's canceled. He's destroyed his career, and there is no coming back from the situation that he found himself in. So what I'm here to say is, I don't know. I don't know. But I will tell you that I am a fact-based person. So what does that mean? That means that when somebody says something to me, even if I say something, there better be some facts or some supporting information that comes behind it. So I got to be honest with you. People are saying that he's canceled. I don't have any reason to believe that. I have no reason to believe that. And that's not based on my gut. That's not based on fanning out. It's just based on factual information or whatever information I have to sort of pull from. So let me show you how I come to not my conclusion, but my opinion. I feel that he's going to come home and he's going to be just fine. There's a couple of different reasons. Number one, since he was not found guilty of the RICO, he kept his money. He's made money while he was locked up. I'm not his accountant. I don't know exactly how much money he's made. So I know that he spent a substantial amount of money, to me, probably for his attorneys. I know that. I know he has ongoing expenses because I guess he sold a couple of things, but he still has a lot of things that he didn't sell. He has a family that's being taken care of every day. I see them from time to time. Everything seems fine. So I know that there's money that's been spent out, and there probably hasn't been an enormous amount of business that's been done. So we can come to that conclusion. However, the man went in as what, a half a billionaire, a billionaire, or whatever he was. What I want to point to is a couple of different things that I can say are facts. So I'm not sure how many followers. We usually judge things by followers and how many people we have that we can consider customers or people that are loyal to our brand. So right now, I don't know where he started out, but I know as of today, he has over 18 million followers on his official Instagram account. He has over 3.5 million on the TikTok. But what we're finding out is that he has a total reach of nearly 50 million followers, and that covers different social media, Instagram, YouTube, and different social media platforms. What I will say about that is, folks, it's hard to cancel somebody. It's hard to get rid of somebody that's got 50 million fans. And I'm going to think that there's some people that are fans that are not his Instagram followers, people that are not even on Instagram. So it's kind of hard to dispute numbers like that. So there's people that are trying to get to a million. He's got almost 20 million just on his Instagram. So I don't know. What if all of his fans supported him? Because guaranteed, there's probably some people still stuck in there that don't support him. What if 10 million people? What if he came out of this with 10 million fans? How could you stop him? I'm just saying. I'm just saying no. Here's a question that I will ask you. Think about this. It's only you and me talking right now. Nobody can hear your responses, right? You don't even have to put it in a comment. But here's a question to you. If you're brave enough to put it in a comment, answer this question for me. Puff gets out tomorrow. 3 months from now, he announces that there's a worldwide tour featuring him, The Lox, Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans, Mace, and Total. Are you going? Are you interested in going? Because it's not even a question. Some people don't buy tickets, right? But are you interested? I don't buy a lot of tickets. But would you want to go? See, whatever your answer is, those are the type of things I examine. I don't know how you can cancel people with millions and millions and millions and millions of fans. Kanye West was running around you saw how he was running around. And he's selling his product. Why? Because he has millions and millions and millions of fans worldwide. Is there some financial situations that are dead to him at this point that he can no longer pull from? Yes, but there's many situations that he still has going on. And that's either unfortunate or fortunate, however you feel about Kanye. I'm not here to judge you either way. What I will do is I will touch on some information because that was interesting to me when I thought about that. When I thought about like, is there documented information on people that have been incarcerated for I'm gonna say social crimes? Not because this crime didn't have anything to do with Bad Boy or Combs Enterprises. They tried to say it did, but that's not what he was convicted on. A social crime, prostitution, participating in prostitution in any way is a crime, but it's a social crime. It's a thing people do socially. Believe it or not, rape it's not a business crime. If you rape somebody and you go to court, you're not going to the courthouse downtown where they handle the corporate situations. You're going to the criminal court. But it's social, like it's something that people do to people. Murder is a social crime. It's something that people do to people. You don't murder a business. You murder a person. It's a social crime. So Mike Tyson, and let's keep it clear. I love Mike Tyson. Always did. Oh, I don't care what anybody says. I am a avid Mike Tyson fan, and that's just what it is. I don't have to state why or whatever. But I want to take a look at Mike Tyson's situation because, like I said, I tried to think of somebody that may have been incarcerated for something that was, kind of crazy. And I thought of Mike. And if you don't remember, he was convicted of rape. Now, whether you think or believe that he deserved to be convicted of rape, that's a different conversation. But for all intents and purposes, he is a convicted felon, and the crime was rape. So what I did was I took a look at Mike Tyson. So our question here is does Puffy's return to the streets, is he finished? Is he not finished? Is he more successful? Is he just as successful? So pay attention to the Mike Tyson information that I'm about to give you. And I didn't know this information until I researched it. But what I do know is Mike Tyson has made somewhere between 400, they're saying 400 and 685 million. So what I did was I reversed things and I said, well, how much of that 600 million or so was made prior to his incarceration for rape, and how much was made after? So what it comes back with is that, which is still a lot of money, Mike Tyson made $140 million prior to being incarcerated for rape. And I'm gonna read something to you. A large portion of his wealth was generated during his massive post-prison comeback. So I'm not a mathematician, although I was very good at math. If he made 140 million prior to, the situation, that means that this man made somewhere around $500 million after he came home from a rape conviction. I'm not concerned about, I give you the real words here. So I don't say grape. And a grape is something that you eat. Rape is something that is terrible. It happens to women. So we say rape here. So after a rape conviction, he returns home to make the bulk of his wealth. Now, if you want to look at it on the corporate side, I'm not running Martha Stewart's numbers right now, but I know that she made the bulk. It's a fact that she's made the bulk of her money after federal incarceration. So, like I said, I just deal with facts. I deal with precedences that have been set. I deal with proof that comes into play. So unless somebody can provide me a long list of people that were on top of the world and just fell off. And I've got one for you. So I'm going to be fair here. Bill Cosby was one of the biggest things smoking. We could all probably agree on that. We can go back and say, was he bigger than this person? But he was huge. And we all know that. He was considered, as a matter of fact, they were calling him America's dad at one point. Let me tell you something. When they call you America's dad, you're making a lot of money. When America, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, whatever you are, when Americans call you America's dad, your bank account is crazy. Trust me. So they were calling Bill Cosby America's dad. Huge. Now, I don't have to go through the facts of his case, but we know it was a case that had to deal with him and multiple women. I'm not here to say whether he was guilty or innocent. The jury decided what they decided, but he did. I think they went back into his case, and he got it overturned. He still never came back, and was unable to come back to the Bill Cosby, to anything like the old Bill Cosby. As a matter of fact, we haven't heard or seen anything of him, from him, involving entertainment in Dean. I can't remember anything. If you remember something, definitely put it in the comments. So since Bill Cosby's been home, I haven't seen his name attached to anything on the low. I haven't heard of anything on the low. I haven't seen him talking or anything. And I'm not here to say whether that's good or bad. What I am here to say is that things could go that way for Diddy too, right? So it's not too many different ways. It's either he comes out and he's successful, at least as successful as when he left or more, or he's Bill Cosby. It's only a couple of different things that happen, and time will tell. And it's not like we have to wait years. I'm guaranteeing you that we only have to wait months, maybe several months, and maybe a couple of months. It could be a month from now. Remember, he has an appeal. The appeal was argued, and I'm going to go back and say that I am so fortunate, and I feel so fortunate that I got an opportunity to be at the appeal when they argued. So when Alexandra Shapiro argued his appeal, it was a lesson for me. I've never seen anything like that. And I got to be honest, I'm not being facetious. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not overbuilding the situation. And I'm gonna say everybody involved in the conversation. So Alexandra Shapiro, I'm gonna say the judges, the three judges that were on that panel. It's hard to remember the last time I was in a room, or if I was ever in a room, where people appeared to be that not only intelligent, but savvy, to where it's like a tennis match where they just kicking intelligence back and forth. It's crazy. I feel as though that the case was historic, but that part of the case for me, I mean, all of the attorneys argued a great case in court. Obviously, they got them off for RICO and sex trafficking in federal court. Like, let's talk about that, folks. Like, if we want to talk about hip hop and we want to talk about history, please show me the other people that were on the top of hip hop that went into a federal court for a RICO charge and a sex trafficking charge and fought it down, took it to trial and fought it down. I'm only here to state the facts. So getting back to what we were talking about, we'll see what's going to happen. Like I said, I know that people are divided on it. There's some people that are going to love the information that is being presented, or the analysis that's being presented right now. There's some people that want this man under the prison. I get it on both sides. They're just opinion. We all have some. Hey, guess what? Put your opinions in the comment section. Like this video. Keep on checking us out on What's Really Good, and be safe out here. Summertime. You see what's going on out in the streets. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.